Well, the car was clean, and then we went to the beach, and man, I love the beach, but oof, Route 1's kind of a nightmare. Yeah, that's gonna have to come off.
Okay, so today I am doing a Macht Schnell competition wheel stud conversion as well as the 12 and 15 millimeter spacers. I got the 90 millimeter studs because that was the minimum length that you needed for the 15 millimeter. Now we're gonna do 15 in the front, 12 in the back. I'm not so sure if that's really gonna be like the final, look, but I think it's a good starting point. Did a lot of research and research, really just reading opinions on forums and looking at pictures and videos. But yeah, I think that 15 and 12 combo is like I said, a good starting point. I really am just kind of going for a little bit more of that aggressive look. I think that bringing that wheel out, flushing it with the wheel well, I love the way that looks as far as I've seen on pictures and stuff. And it's an inexpensive enough mod where even if it's not right, that's easy enough to change out and maybe do 12s all the way around. Maybe I find that 12 in the back isn't aggressive enough and I do 15s all the way around. One thing I've definitely seen from all my reading and everything is how highly subjective the look of spacers are when it comes to people's taste. Some people prefer like a more subtle, like maybe 10 millimeter. Others are doing like super aggressive, like 20 and above. But again, between 10 and 15 seems to be like that sort of sweet spot area that most people sort of find has like the best stance and look. And one thing we'll do afterwards is go for a drive test and make sure that there's not any vibration or anything like that. I've seen some people have that problem, and I think maybe that's because maybe they didn't get a good enough clean on the hub, so that maybe there's a little bit of friction between the spacer and the hub. So we're going to make sure that we clean everything really well on the hub and the wheel before doing the spacer install. But speaking of which, so let's get to the tools that we're going to need.
All right, so a couple of tools for the job. So we have our wheel studs and spacers here, but also a torque wrench. This is a T30 in order to lock down the bolts. 17 millimeter socket, which actually this one has the protective coating on it so you don't scratch the inside of your wheels, but 17 millimeter for the lug nuts, some medium strength Loctite, and I actually didn't mean to buy this much Loctite. I wasn't paying attention to the size when I checked out on Amazon, but I don't know what I'm going to do with this much, but some medium strength. And actually worth noting, I'm not sure if this was included by I&D where I got these from, or if it was from Macht Schnell, but you actually do get some medium Loctite in the kit, so you really don't actually have to buy any if you don't already have some. But anyway, so medium strength Loctite, some anti-seize lubricant, and then I have a couple of wire brushes here that I got for cleaning the inside of the hub. Just in case there's any rust or just dirt or anything like that, just to make sure that the spacers get a good connection. So I got some of these as well as these smaller ones, and these all plug into a drill, but even if you don't have those, you can just use a regular hand brush. That'll work fine too. Because even the jack pad adapters have to match. These are the Aluminum Burger Motorsports jack pad adapters. They're awesome. Good heavy aluminum and made in the USA. Very cool. That's not too bad. I'll clean up in here a little bit. Same with the hub. Got a little bit of rust going on, some surface stuff, but should be easy to take care of. For good measure, I just noticed a nail in the tire. Where are you at? Right here. Really stuck in there, so that sucks. But I knew I was gonna need tires originally. Actually, wow, these are really starting to break apart right on the rim here. I don't know if you can see this, like right on the inner edge. Yeah, these gotta get replaced like in a hurry. So, all right, well today I learned. All right, new tires on the agenda. Alright, so that is the inner hub cleaned up. It's much cleaner now, and so I think doing this will definitely give the spacers the best chance to have like the best flat surface to hopefully not cause any kind of vibration or stuff while driving. Alright, so now I'm going to take a little bit of that medium strength Loctite, put a drop or two on the end threads here, and get these in.
now that all 5 studs are in, we're going to torque these down to 25 foot-pounds. Just did a test fitting of the spacers and they fit great. Polishing off or removing all of the old rust and grime and everything definitely gives it the best chance to have the flattest surface possible to mat up to. But before we put these on, I'm going to put a little coating of anti-seize lubrication on. You don't need a whole lot, just in between all of the bolts. And then of course, as you put the wheel back on and torque it down, it will push in and spread the paste out a little bit further. And then we will go ahead and get this on and see how it looks. Okay, so this wheel is done. I'm gonna go ahead and get the wheel back on, tighten up a little bit, and then do the back. Then we'll lower the car and finally get a chance to see how it looks with the 15s in the front and the 12s in the rear. Okay, real quick, if you've ever had to take a wheel on and off this car without wheel studs, this is a night and day difference of getting it lined up. So much easier.
All right, because I kind of forgot to do this on the first wheel, let's take a before and after of what this looks like. So you can see this one's actually a little worse than the front one. Probably take a little bit more work to get this cleaned up, but it shouldn't be that long. So that is the rear hub. And then this is the inside of the rear wheel. All right, and so this is the after. Most of this came off pretty easily, a little bit more stubborn right around the inside here. And there's still a little bit of dirt and rust in here that probably just go over one more time just to make sure. But everything, as far as that's just, making sure the inside is clean, which isn't really gonna affect anything when it comes to the spacers. It's just, while I'm here, I might as well. But the actual surface for the spacers is pretty clean. And then the inside wheel here, gotta blow all this out, but this is way cleaner and it even feels really smooth. So this wheel is good to go. So let's get the studs on, get the spacer on, and then get this thing dropped and see how we do. Okay, so everything is torqued up and we are done on this side. Okay, initial impressions. The back, phenomenal looking. That's exactly what I imagine that the back should look like. The front, right? If I'm looking at this, so the outer, so these wheels, this edge sticks out a little bit further. So I feel like this is pretty, maybe a tad further out than the fender. But I actually kind of have been looking at this for like the past 20 minutes before I started filming to kind of really let the impression sink in and how I thought this looked. And I really like it actually. I think that, I don't think it sticks out too far. I can kind of go either way. I kind of see how some people can say that. And I wish I actually had, you know what, it's weird. I do have the 12s from the back. I'm thinking about getting this up and putting 12s on it and then seeing what it looks like with 12s front and back. I actually didn't think about that until just now. That might be worth doing. Do I want to try 12s in the front to see how that would look? Okay, so for the sake of argument, let's jack this thing up real quick and put 12s on it, just for a minute, just to see how it feels. And we'll compare that with what we now know the 15s look like. I already did a little bit of video showing the 15s in the front, 12s in the rear, and then on the other side, which isn't done yet, so you kind of have an idea of like, not before and after, but kind of before and after. So yeah, so let's put the 12s on real quick and see how it looks.
So got the 12s on, and I'm not sure, right? So definitely notice that there's a slight less, slight inset compared to what it was. So now I think the fender well is probably matched up a little bit more with the outer edge of the tire here, but I'm not sure whether or not I like this better than the 15s. It's still an improvement over what it was because I'm still comparing the 12s here to the factory on the other side. So what I think I'm gonna do is go do the other side and put the 15s on them, which they're gonna get anyway, and then compare them to this. And then that way I can get a better idea in real time of what 15s on one side and 12s on the other side look like. And then from there decide whether or not we're gonna keep the 15s in the front or go order another set of 12s. Sound good? All right.
So just like the other tires, these have the sort of cracking around the inner wall as well. So like I said, new front tires definitely on the agenda. Man, that's rough. But at least there's no nail in it.
Okay, so let's review. I started out with 15 on the front, 12 on the rear. Got those up, think they look pretty good. Was a little unsure about the 15s, so I wanted to see what 12 looked like on the other side, especially with 12 and 12. Looks pretty good, but I still kind of think that maybe 15 was the right fit. But to be sure, I then put 15 on this side so I could get a real-time comparison of what those two look like. After looking at it, I still think that 15 probably is the right call for the front. Again, it does come out a little bit further, 3 millimeters, but yeah, it just, I think it looks about right. The way that it lines up with the fender well, I think this is probably the right fit. So, real quick, I will take the camera and try to do a sort of back and forth so you guys can see what that looks like. But I am definitely leaning towards the 15 on the front, which saves me the hassle of having to order a set of 12s. But if it wasn't the right fit, I definitely would go for the 12s. So yeah, I'm not 100% there, but I think that 15s on the front is the right move. So let me show you what that looks like real quick.
Initially I thought maybe that was a little bit too much, but after seeing them with the 12s, I think that might be right. All right, so get a good look at that. That is 15 on the front. Let's go over and see the 12s. So as you can see, they don't stick out as much, but I think, I don't know if it really translates on camera, but the curvature of the tire, you can kind of see it a little bit, but it's a little bit more apparent on the other side, obviously. So I don't know, man. I think 15th on the front is the move. So what I'm gonna do, definitely, is go ahead and set these up the way they were originally gonna be done. 15 front, 12 rear, and let's just live with that for a couple of days and see what happens. I have a feeling that I'm gonna love it. I mean, I already kind of love it. I'm 95% there, but let me just see with it how it does for a couple of days, and then we'll definitely decide on whether or not we're sticking with the 15s. But yeah, man, I think this is right.
Okay, so everything is all wrapped up. Time to take it out for a drive and hopefully make sure that there are no vibrations. Okay, so about a minute or two into the drive, it feels perfect. It takes a little while to get out of the neighborhood at 25 miles an hour, but yeah, it feels absolutely perfect. I would dare even say a little, I might be just crazy, but it even feels like it is smoother. There's nothing in the steering wheel. There's no vibration, anything. But yeah, no, this feels absolutely fine. I'm in Sport Plus Sport for suspension. So I'll try all three, but I think if one works, or if one feels fine, I think they'll all feel fine. But no difference at all in the drive. So, like I said, the couple of people who complained about, feeling vibration, I have to wonder whether or not maybe they just had a bad spacer, or maybe they just didn't
clean enough hub for the wheel to connect to. I would have to imagine that that would throw things off dramatically, but yeah, no, this feels great. So that's good. As far as the look of it right now, I think 15 and 12 was definitely a good way to go. So just a little back row to make sure that everything is definitely all good. A little cornering and stuff, but yeah, no, this feels perfect. I wish I were golfing. I kind of wish I was golfing right now. Looks like a nice day. Again, I'm almost done the sort of test drive, and no complaints, so awesome. Well, what about you? I've been doing all the opinionating. How's it feel on your side?
Honestly, it feels like I don't notice any difference. I mean, I feel like you're getting in my head where I'm like, oh, maybe it is smoother.
It feels smoother.
I mean, it's definitely not smooth. Like, if you would have done it when I was away and never told me that you did anything, I would have never noticed a difference. It's not like I would have gotten in the car and said, your car's driving a little. No, like it. Absolutely nothing throws red flags.
Here's the argument that I would make for maybe why I think it feels smoother. So all four wheels had a decent buildup of some inner, caked on, dust, dirt, debris, rust, whatever. So maybe stands to reason that taking the wire brush and really kind of going along and smoothing out like every surface, maybe that is making things feel better. Maybe it has nothing to do with the spacers or the wheels being out a little bit further. Maybe it does, but it could also very much be just the fact that the hubs are all cleaned up, the wheels are all cleaned up. Could be that. Alright, so test drive is done, and like I said, could not have gone better. Everything felt super smooth, very, no vibrations, no any kind of, weirdness or anything, or just anything that seemed out of the ordinary. If anything, it felt smoother, and maybe that's just, maybe I just think that because there were no issues, or maybe it's because cleaning off the hub and the wheel made things a little bit better. I don't know, but either way, no issues, and it's real big relief on that, because again, you read one or two, not horror stories, but like people have had issues, and you're like, was that a waste of time, was it a waste of money, whatever. Especially with how good it looks, I would have hated to have had to undo that. But yeah, no, everything came out great. I'm super pleased with everything, and yeah, so I will put links in the description below for everything I used, all the tools, as well as the studs and spacers. I think this was a great upgrade, and it's something that was simple, but you definitely want to take your time with it, because I don't really want to rush anything that has to do with wheels and alignment and everything like that. So taking the time to really get everything cleaned up and situated right, I think was worth doing. So if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Everybody
this
has
is
their
awesome.
everybody has their words.
Their words, I know. It is true.
I mean, I could
I'm gonna sit over here with a thesaurus. Okay, let's find two.
let's find some different adjectives.
Let's. If I were to say perfect,
This drive is the bee's knees.
the bees.
This is how I feel about this drive right now. This is the bee's knees. It is spectacular. It's real. It's spectacular. Might have to use some of this B-roll. So.